Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 25th day of July, 2024. 25 reduces to 7, 2 and 5 is 7, and 7 is, I'm getting a fire watch thing. Oh boy, well, okay, one of them's 100% contained now. We're surrounded by fire. We're not in any danger or anything, but we're getting all the smoke. It comes from all directions. So apologies in advance if my voice gives out here. Anyway, 7 is about observation. Think of it as a set of scales where you've got the two pans. You let them settle out and see what you got. Weigh things out. The gold miners would do that to see just exactly how much money they're going to get, and weighed their gold. But anyway, it's just a good way, I think, to take a look at things, to be absolutely sure before you make a decision. Just be sure you understand what the whole picture is, or as much of it as you can get, as you can. Sometimes you can't get all information, but do your due diligence today. I'm letting the runes fall through my hand here to get the last one. Here we have Perthrow. We haven't had Perthrow, I don't think, in a while. Perthrow is about chance. It's the cup from which the runes are cast, or dice are tossed, or something. Directionality matters here. Here's open to the future. Here's open to the past. It could also be birth and death. Here's a cauldron. Here's also birth. But I tend to look at Perthrow in terms of who controls your fate. Are you giving that over to other people? Sometimes circumstances just do, maybe control the substance of it. But how you see it is still your choice, right? So you can control your fate that way. Does higher awareness inform what you do? Or are you simply reacting to everything around you? In that regard, your reactions would control your fate instead of who you are as a soul, controlling how you see things and how you react to things. But it could also be a chance meeting. That it could indicate that, that somebody comes into your life just by chance. Either someone you've known a long time ago and they suddenly reappear in your life, or somebody new that enters your life. It could be something like that as well. But let's just set that down and let's look at the Geomancy rune. Let me get my keyboard out of the way here first so I can throw things down. I think though with Perthrow, you're really looking at who controls the fate that you are. You taking charge of that, or are you just letting something else, external forces of some kind, decide for you what your future is and the choices you're going to make? And again, it could be your own reaction to everything. Not taking the time, like with today's numerology of 7, to not take the time to really suss out what's really happening and where you understand the factors involved before you react to it and make a decision about it, maybe. Here we have Caput Draconis. You're looking at Caput Draconis is the north node of the moon, so it's about the future. Its complement, Cauda Draconis. This is the head of the dragon. This is the tail of the dragon. If you're looking at Cauda, you're looking at how the past influences, and that could also include past life experience. The things that we do create karma. The decisions we make, the reactions we have, choices we make, that all creates karma. We either are doing things in a balanced way that reflects the truth of something, or we're we're on an extreme. You're reacting one way or the other that really doesn't reflect what's really going on. And so in doing that, it creates karma or an imbalance that you then have to resolve at another time. Now, it could come from past life, which past is really subjective. It's really all happening at once. And so from another incarnation somewhere else that the soul is having, so the soul remembers all of it. And so it could be something like that you're having to resolve in this particular version of yourself. But it could just be something that, happened last week that you're having to sort of, rethink and redo or rectify or something, so in terms of Perthrow, are you going to take responsibility for that? Are you going to make the choice to understand where you were and where you are now, and how maybe that wasn't the best choice and now you have a chance to make a different one? But you're making it, and you're going to make that from a higher perspective, not from a soul perspective versus the ego's reactive perspective, because the ego is just going to take the easy road, and you're going to jump to conclusions. You're going to see this or a person a particular way, and maybe there's more to the story. So you jump to conclusions, in other words. And so now you may have a chance to change that and control your own fate in the process, essentially, with Perthrow. Now, what that is, I don't know yet, but we may get an idea here with the cards. And we'll see what they have to say and the details they provide, so we can define this whole idea a little bit further. But how you behave affects your future. And if you've behaved in a way that's impacting it negatively, you may have a chance to turn that around today. Or at least in another endeavor, you might be able to make a different choice that is a little more, it's just a better decision that you can make. So I've shuffled, I've cut the deck, taken the lower half, and I have 2 cards from the Suit of Pentacles. So we have a run on the Earth element here, a run on Pentacles, and anything to do with your physical reality. Material security oftentimes is Pentacles, but it could also mean education, tradition, home, family, work. I mean, anything. Inheritance. It's a very Othala type of element. Othala is the final rune of the Elder Futhark, and it's basically talking about all of that. Everything culminates into how you manifested your life, and did you do it in a way that was positive, or are you leaving yourself a bunch of karma for the next one, right, to deal with? And karma's not a bad thing. It's just acknowledging that perhaps you focused it in a way that's not the best way, that didn't really give you what you needed, and now you have an opportunity to balance that with what you really need to do, so with a better choice. But anyway, we have the Ace of Pentacles, we have the Three of Wands, and we have the Page of Pentacles. The Three of Wands now is the merchant standing above the bay there, watching it for his ship to come in. He made the choice in the card before that, the Two of Wands, of where he was going to go, and here he's seeing whether or not that's going to be workable, whether or not he's going to make some money off of it. And so there's definitely a financial thing here today. There could be a new opportunity coming your way, and instead of letting everybody else decide for you where you're going to go and what's important to you, this may give you the opportunity today to choose a different way of looking at things, and to step back and ask yourself, well, what do I really want, and how am I going to make all of this happen? And it's not that you can't take advice from other people, but at some point you have to be the one to make that decision for yourself, instead of necessarily just going along with the crowd or what everybody else is telling you to do. If it doesn't feel right, then pay attention to that. And again, it's not that you could get advice from somebody that's like, yeah, that really clicks. It's like, that's exactly what I want to do. But you're the one making that choice. You're not feeling like you have to go along to get along, basically, because that doesn't always work out very well. Before we get started here, let's do the numerology, though, of the reading. With Perthrow, you're looking at the 14th rune of the Elder Futhark. It's going to give you a 5 numerology plus 1 for the Ace, plus the 3, plus the Page of Pentacles doesn't have anything, so we're looking at 18, or reduces to 9. 8 and 1 is 9. Let me do that one more time. There's 14 with Perthrow. There's the 1 for the Ace plus the 3. Well, I didn't clear, so that didn't work for me. 14 plus 1 plus 3 is 18, so 9. So 9 is about endings and completion. It's also about spirituality and generosity. But if it's about endings or completion here, then it would make sense with Caput Draconis that there is a sense of new beginnings. One period is ending and a new one is beginning here. Or a new way of seeing things is happening. And again, if it's about who controls your fate, maybe you're finally realizing today that that's important, that you do that. That you make the decision about your future after, examining things. And again, if it means getting advice, from somebody, well, that's fine. Or more than one somebody, that's fine. It's just that at the end of the day, you can't feel pressured to do something just because someone else says, oh, this is a good thing to do. You have to be the one to make that choice and to accept responsibility for whatever that brings you. But with the Ace of Pentacles, it suggests a new path toward material security is opening. You see the traditional hand reaching out from the clouds, like you always see with the ace cards in the Rider-Waite. It's literally the hand of spirit, suggesting that how you manifest this needs to be from a higher perspective. You see all the emanation going out from the hand there. The unseen hand of spirit holding a very large coin. You see lilies here in the foreground. You see a path. You see a hedgerow with an archway that the hedgerow sort of creates there for it. You see some mountains in the distance, so there could be some challenges coming your way, but you're ready to go, and you're taking that leap of faith that the Fool takes in the very beginning of the major arcana. Into some new experience with undeveloped potential. Anything could happen here. And again, you're the one controlling your fate with Perthrow. In this sense of new beginnings, or this sense of a new path forming toward some kind of material security. Maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a business you're opening. You're maybe just starting out in life. It's possible, and you want to have a home, you want to buy a home, you want to have some material security for yourself, and a new path may be opening today, aligning with Caput Draconis, where something like that could happen. But again, who's controlling your fate? And the ace would suggest, well, higher self should be. Here, we come to the Three of Wands. And here again, you have a merchant who's standing beyond the two affixed staffs in the ground there. There's life growing from them because the wands is the fire element. So it's very dynamic, very active. It's initiating, it's motivating, it's new opportunities, creativity, everything you're passionate about. So whatever the new beginning is, you're feeling passionate about it. And he's made the decision in the card prior to this, in the two again, where he's chosen, what he wants to do, what new opportunity he wants to pursue. And here he's essentially waiting for the ship to come in. You see the ships down in the bay. Everything is yellow. There, you don't see a blue sky. You don't see blue water, because this is all about opportunity and vitality and initiation. The sun has returned. It's shining down on everything. The sun represents the soul. It also represents the self. It's incarnated. And it's all about new opportunities and undeveloped potential that's manifesting here in the three. He's walked through the doorway here that he created for himself when he made the decision in the card before this. And now he's standing there waiting to see what's going to happen, how all of it's going to manifest. You have the same sort of sky here in the Page of Pentacles. Now, the pages, you basically have four people in the court. You have the page or princess, this depends on the suit, or rather the deck that you're using, whether or not it's a page or a princess, but it's always somebody who's youthful. The student, somebody who is, in this case with Pentacles, again, it can mean education. He's very studious. He's got a very spiritual focus. He's very reliable. Again, Pentacles is the earth element, so very practical and foundational, grounded, pursues things in a methodical way, dependable, reliable, trustworthy, conscientious. And so what you've done here is whatever you've chosen here and you're waiting to come in at, whatever new path you've taken to make all this happen, you're going to approach it in a very measured way, in a very responsible, reliable, and conscientious way. And again, also with the spiritual focus, it reinforces the ACE, where it's higher awareness that is leading you down that new path today. And in doing so, you control your fate. It's not the reactive ego doing it. You're staying in control. You've got the 25 numerology here that reduces to 7, and you're letting things settle out, and you're observing. Before making a decision, you're making sure you understand, you're weighing things out, and you understand what the bigger picture is, what, the consequences might be for this choice or that choice or whatever. You start looking at, okay, and in other words, before you take the risk, before you jump in feet first to something, to the decision that you've made. You're not letting impulse control you. You're just, or you're not letting other people control you. If you just say, oh, my fate is just its own, I have no control over that. Well, yeah, you do. You do by the choices you make, the reactions you have. And so you want that to be grounded in something that's going to actually get you where you need to go, instead of the loosey-goosey attitude of the ego of, oh, well, this looks good, or that looks good, or that looks good. It may not be. And so then it compromises everything you're trying to achieve. And so taking a measured approach versus one that's impulsive is important. And it puts an end to, you either, with the 9 numerology for the whole reading, you're either looking at a positive ending, positive outcome, again, spiritual in nature, or it's an end to a more frenetic way of doing things, and one that's more calculated and measured and understanding the bigger picture. And so that when you're waiting for your ship to come in, when you're waiting for the decisions you've made to manifest, you know that in the end you've done it in a way that is in control of the fate. He's holding the coin in his hands, almost presenting it and offering, see, this is what I did, and this is how I was successful. And again, pages are also about new beginnings, given that they're a student and they're just starting out in life. You then have the knight or the prince, and then you have the queen and the king. So there's a progression there in the court. And so here the page is just starting out, and he's wanting to make the best decisions he can. We realistically could put the 3 at the end. I don't think it's necessary, but we could. And here you would read it as the new path opens. He's taking a measured approach to everything he's doing. He's being very conscious of making the decisions consciously. He's trying to be making the decisions to be a reliable thing he can rely on, to where it's a positive outcome, and then he waits for his ship to come in and to manifest. And I suppose we could do it that way. But I kind of like the idea of the bookends of the pentacles on either side of the wands, because I think that you're looking at something with the suit of wands where the decisions could be made impulsively. That's the downside of the fire element. You can act without thinking things through. But I think that with the Page of Pentacles, he's cautioning. It's like the cautionary tale. Well, okay, that all might look good, might look good on paper, or look good in your imagination or whatever, but then when you play it out, you really start to look at it structurally, and how this will influence this, and on and on, you may see that that's really not workable for you. And so taking a measured approach is probably the best way to go. But again, I think that even with the 3 of Wands, given what that card talks about, I think you're still looking at some kind of opportunity that's going to bring material success today. And again, is it higher awareness that's going to offer you the best advice, or is just reacting with the ego, is that going to be how you're going to go? And I think that the more reliable way of looking at it is from a higher perspective. So remember, you are a soul in these bodies having this experience. You don't have to give it away to the ego. You can control that and make the best decision possible for yourself today. So I think that's it. I don't think we need another card. I think there's a lot of I think there's redundancy with the cards here. One reinforces the other, and this may be the result. It's like he's holding it up, showing everybody, see, I did well. I took the high road. I made the right decisions for myself by doing that, and here's what I have to show for it. So I think we'll just leave them in the order that I drew them, and instead of moving it around. And I think, again, you have a chance to take control of your own fate today, and so that you can do something wonderful for yourself. But again, it depends on whether or not you're going to react or inform yourself from higher awareness. So that's it, I think, for a Thursday. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll click subscribe if you haven't. I do this on Mondays and Thursdays of each week, and also I have a blog called Stepping Aside. It's the web address there is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video and a little window will pop up. It's right there at the top. I'd love you to go see that and see what you think of that. I publish several things in the midnight hour of Sunday mornings each week, and this next week will be the last in the Exploring Tarot series I'm doing. The last card that I'm looking at is Justice. And I've looked at all of them, so 78 cards, and so 78 weeks. But anyway, I do a card a week, and I don't know what I'm going to switch up to next. Maybe I'll do an herbal series or something, and maybe we'll look at that, something not rune or tarot related, or I might do something on runes. We'll see. But I think it's going to be herbs. I haven't written in a while about herbs. I'm an herbalist, so it's always fun to write about that kind of stuff. And since the garden's growing and I've been harvesting different things, it'd be fun to talk about that again. Other than that, I write also I publish most of the stuff over on Patreon, Medium, and Substack. If you happen to follow me over there, or you like reading those platforms, I'm also over there. And you'll see links to that again click on more. It'll be in that window. But other than that, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.